It started with James, the youngest of the 5 original brothers. He married his niece, Betty, who was the daughter of his brother Anselm.
Oswald, yeah, Oswald, that's what I said, Oswald. He said, I'm just a patsy, and that means that he didn't do it, right?
Yo, welcome back to the channel, gang. In today's compilation, we'll look at some creepy and interesting TikToks that'll leave you speechless. But before we get to it, be sure to hit the like button, sub up, and let's get it.
Campbell's is in hot water after their VP was caught on a hot mic saying that their soups use bioengineered meat and that only poor people eat them. In the recording, he said this.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit? I don't buy animal products barely anymore. It's so healthy. Now that I know what the in it, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. You?
If the vice president of the company is talking about his soup this way, I'm never eating it again. But that's my opinion. Let me know what you think about this in the comments and make sure to follow if you want to get all your news in one place.
This is almost like drug dealers selling drugs but never use it, just because they know what it could do to them.
Cars here, and guess what? The table knows who got what. The card machine that's distributing the car gonna mix them around and that. Come on, man, I'm not stupid. Y'all can keep losing y'all money. This is it right here. This is why I don't gamble. I'm just saying, I'm not. You want to play 21 here. Let's put your cards here. And guess what? The table knows who got what. The card machine that's distributing the car gonna mix them around and that. Come on, man, I'm not stupid.
If what he's saying is true, I can see where this NBA players got their idea from.
First, I've already mentioned that the Italian branch eventually fizzled out. They intermarried with the British branch, though, so their legacy lives on through that connection. That leaves the French branch. That branch is the only one other than the senior British branch that still exists today. It started with James, the youngest of the 5 original brothers. He married his niece, Betty, who was the daughter of his brother Anselm. They had 4 sons, 3 of whom have male line descendants still living today. The 3rd son, Solomon, actually ended up in America. The idea was that he might eventually start a branch there, but Solomon died young and an American branch never did come to exist. The youngest son, Edmund, was a big supporter of the early Zionist movement. Long before the Holocaust and decades before the British occupation of Palestine, Edmund purchased land from the Ottomans and helped fund the first Jewish settlement in what is today the State of Israel. His son James would later bequeath the funds that went on to be used to build the Knesset building in Jerusalem, which today houses the Israeli parliament. However, the main branch of the French family is this one here. It is currently led by David de Rothschild. In 2003, the main Rothschild company in France merged with the main Rothschild company in Britain, with David being made chairman. So in terms of the actual business side of the Rothschild empire, David, this individual here, is kind of the head of the family. He also serves as the chairman of the World Jewish Congress, an international organization based in New York that represents Jewish diplomatic interests across the globe. Okay, I've left the British branch for last because it was the most successful, is currently the senior branch, and it's the branch that people in the English-speaking world are most familiar with. It starts with Nathan Rothschild, 3rd son of Meyer Amschel. As I mentioned earlier, he earned a lot of money for the family's firm in the years following Napoleon's defeat. What's less known, though, is he was also involved in ending slavery in the UK, using millions of dollars to help buy and free.
A lady on here just found a small cobra in her Great Value Cheeto Cheese Puffs bag of chips. Why she placed a Walmart order, and in there she got 2 bags of the Cheeto Cheese Puffs. She opened one, she gave her daughter some, and then her other daughter was like, there's something in this bag. She dumped the bag out. A damn baby python fell out the bag. So you mean to tell me I done gave my baby some of these deep fried anaconda chips? Oh no. We about to have a class action lawsuit going on right now because what the hell? So none of the employees noticed that there was a snake in a bag? Like, that's crazy. I'm talking about snake covered in powdered cheese dust. Nobody noticed nothing? And then she opened the other bag and it had like some trash on it, some flake. Maybe the snake shedded and it ended up in the other bag. Dropping a few pounds is getting easier and easier for me every day because, I don't know, seeing all these things, food disgusts me. Anytime I go to put something in my mouth, I gag a little bit.
I don't think that Python was a lone ranger in a manufacturing plant. He probably has a brother or a sister trapped in a different bag. He might be giving Drake's underground bunker some competition.
You guys, Apple has just released a digital ID for identification and US passports. Here we go. Now, reports say they will be merging their biometric security with encrypted ID storage and plans to replace your physical IDs across airports, apps, and businesses. Why don't I like this? They also said this is going to be used at over 250 TSA checkpoints across domestic airports for identity verification. Now, remember I told you guys about one of the richest men on earth, Larry Ellison, who owns TikTok and Oracle, and who's a big fan of digital IDs? Well, it seems like one big master plan between all the big tech companies. You have Microsoft dealing with OpenAI, OpenAI dealing with NVIDIA, NVIDIA dealing with Oracle, xAI dealing with NVIDIA, and not to mention, OpenAI just did a $38 billion deal with Amazon for cloud storage. So the question is, what are they really planning? Well, I may have some answers. Could it be that they're following in the footsteps of China's Skynet, which is tied to digital IDs, a social credit score, and an AI surveillance system that they actually want to put on the moon? Skynet, huh? Why does this sound familiar? That's because it's the same name as the killer artificial intelligence in Terminator, Skynet. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. It's always in the movies.
Unless Apple is a distant branch of the government, I'm not quite sure why they would want to create a digital ID.
You know how they say Hollywood tells you the truth or what they're going to do in movies? Well, it couldn't be more true in this movie, which was in 1997. It's called Conspiracy Theory. And I was not awake in 1997. I am now, and oh my gosh, here is the opening scene to the movie. You might want to go watch it again.
July 8, 1979, all the fathers of Nobel Prize winners were rounded up by United Nations military units, all right? And actually forced at gunpoint to give semen samples in little plastic jars, which are now stored below Rockefeller Center underneath the ice skating rink. Wouldn't want to be there for the thaw. Ugh. I mean, it's disgusting. You know what they put in the water, don't you? Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. On the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this stuff does to you? It actually weakens your will. Takes away the capacity for free and creative thought and makes you a slave to the state. You ever wonder about all these militia groups, survivalist type groups from the right-wing side? They say that they're defending the country from the UN troops. These guys are yelling so loud, my theory is, and this is a conspiracy, pal, that they are the UN troops and that they're in place. The infrastructure's ready, it's just invading constantly. When the time comes, they'll just take over, we'll all be toast. Oswald, that's what I said, Oswald. He said, I'm just a patsy, and that means that he didn't do it, right? The one about Arm & Hammer goes to the doctor, and the doctor said, hey, Armin, you've only got 3 minutes to live. And he says, oh my God, that's terrible news. Isn't there anything you can do for me, Doc? 3 minutes. And the doctor says, well, Armin, I can boil you an egg. I guess not. All right. Did you ever see those advertisements like, got milk? You think you're living in a free country? You think this is a democracy? Of course it's not. Websites, newsletters, self-published manifestos, they think we're gooks. I mean, George Bush knew what he was saying when he said New World Order. Remember those big little words, New World Order? Well, he was a 33rd degree Mason, you know, and as ex-director of the CIA. He knew they're saying that with Sims, conspiratologists everywhere, spinning their wheels, and then they destroy their own credibility. I'm sure your heart's in the right place, okay? But, you know, somebody's got to lift the scab, the festering scab that is the bad egg. The chip for identification so they can track down an animal anywhere he's at. You'll insert it under the dog's skin, and it's kind of like an identification thing. I mean, it's only a small, logical step, so they start putting it in us and our children. And then, before we know it, my God, they'll probably come with a prepaid. Oh, sure, yeah. Hey, is that one of those new hundreds? You know, where they changed the picture of Ben Franklin? Look at him, yeah. He looks like the love child of the Fred Mertz and Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, get rid of him as soon as you can, Ray. Look at it up to the light. You see the metal strip in it? That's a tracking device. If you got any more of them, get rid of them. Exchange them for good. Because they'll follow you. They know where every one of those.
Modern day movie producers couldn't dare be that transparent.
All right, so we're here in Hollywood. Hollywood Boulevard. There goes Jimmy Kimmel Live, right? But look at the top of the building. Look what it says. Freemasonry builds its temples among the nations and in the hearts of men. Look at this. This is no other than Hollywood Boulevard. But look, the Jimmy Kimmel Live building is a Freemasonry building. I'm telling y'all, man, Hollywood is filled with Freemasonry, sex trafficking, cults. It's crazy. They made sure to make Jimmy Kimmel Live right here in this building. Y'all know what this means, man. Just like all the rest of these crazy, creepy places. But yeah, I just wanted to show y'all that.
Jimmy Kimmel could have chosen any other building to host his shows, but he chose this one.
Ex-naval intelligence officer Anthony Scotto is the man I was talking about who warned America. I'm going to show you key parts of this video. Now, this video is very long, but I'm going to break it down so the parts where he's speaking is more under, feasible to watch. Because I know a lot of y'all have a problem with watch times. So listen to what he's saying.
Safe areas in the United States. Well, people say, well, why would people ask about safe areas? What is this about? Just in case you didn't see my other video. And I had warned people to stay away from coastlines and the Mississippi River, and said that you should migrate toward the center of the country or at least away from the coastline. So when people ask about safe areas in the United States, look, anywhere that has high elevation or that's away from the coastline is always going to be a plus. The only thing you have to be careful of is the flat plains. Anything that has flat plain land. There's a lot of flat plain land in Iowa, Missouri, and certain places in the Midwest that you do have to be careful for. But anything with higher elevation is going to be a huge plus. A lot of people are a huge plus. A lot of people are just not in the position to move, nor can they move. They don't have the money, the finances, they have kids in school. Listen, I understand all that, but I'm just letting you know, by 2027, if you can, get away from the coastline. Okay, the next question, and this kind of coincides with the first question, when will this happen? Look, I don't have a crystal ball, and nor do I claim to be God. I'm only going to go by documents that I've seen, that I shouldn't be sharing with you, but anyway, documents that I've seen that coincide with this, okay? And this is 100% fact. When I say when this will happen, short answer, by 2027. It could be sooner, it could be next month. I don't know, I'll be honest with you, but by 2027, from the documents that I read and And from what I've seen, there was a agenda here to change things around as far as what the United States is going to look like. Okay, next question. I need my glasses again. This is a great question, by the way. Whoever sent me this. What do you know about the food supply? Great question. Matter of fact, that should be one of the #1 concerns on your mind, is what you put in your body. So what do I know about the food system or food supply? Well, #1, it's full of poison. #2, it's full of parasites. So if you buy your groceries at any of the big chain stores, it's probably not a good idea. There's a lot of parasites in the foods that are being produced right now, and they're also full of chemicals that your body cannot digest naturally. And this is a great question, and I'm going to do a follow-up video about this food supply thing. This is really important because this has to do with your health, okay? Real quick, when you buy vegetables or fruits or anything like that, the best thing to do is put it in a bowl of water and pour some apple cider vinegar on it. Here we go. I'm going to get a lot of flack for this one, and I know for a fact people are just going to scroll, but that's fine. Yes, it is. 100% it's flat. Matter of fact, 1,000% it's flat. Working for the Department of Navy, I can assure you it is definitely flat. The weaponry that we use, the technology that we have on the ships, all laser guided, trust me, wouldn't work on a ball. Let's just put it that way. It is a flat earth plane. That's why you fly on an airplane, okay? You live on a plane, a flat plane, just so you know. Open up your Bible. It will tell you in the Bible that the earth is stationary. It does not move, and it's flat. It's in the Bible. Go look it up. Anyway, on to the next question. Again with the glasses. What do you know about DUMBs? Another great question. And if you don't know what DUMBs are, it's deep underground military bases.
Listen to this.
That's what DUMBs are. A lot of people have been talking about this on TikTok, of how the elites are running away and they're going to go hide under the ground because they know that this catastrophe is coming. Not true. Not true. Okay? They've been living underground
the whole time. Facts.
Okay? How do you think they travel? How do you think they get from the East Coast to the West Coast? Do you think they jump on an airplane like me and you? No. There's an underground monorail that takes them from California to New York in probably an hour or less. And there's a whole city underground, okay, with shopping centers and you name it, it's down there. I've actually seen the maps of this. I have an old one and I also have an updated map, and I'll share that in one of my upcoming videos. I know a lot of people are going to be interested in this topic. There are entrances to a lot of these underground facilities. A lot of them are built into mountainsides and they just kind of open up magically. And you'll see trucks driving in there bringing supplies. So if you wonder where all your food is gone, your real food, because if a lot of people will drive through America and they'll say, I see cows and I see pastures and I see corn and I see food being grown. Yeah, but it's not for you, okay? Your food is coming out of a laboratory, and their food is being grown naturally from the earth.
Okay, so have y'all seen the videos about the concert that went down at the pyramids of Giza in Egypt? Because a lot of people are saying that this is not about music, this is definitely giving spiritual warfare. The concert was called Anima Quantum Genesis, but it was way more than lasers and beats. Something felt very much different because people were stating it was giving rituals or maybe even revelations, pretty much truth hidden in plain sight. And it's about an android named Eva that's supposed to merge humans with machinery, with technology. And it was giving like consciousness meets creation, but they had all types of symbolisms, from serpents to all types of, angels and just fire and just hidden, geometry, just many different things that make people feel very much uncomfortable. And while many people seem to enjoy it, a lot of people felt as if it was quite demonic. All of these visuals were projected onto the pyramids themselves. Now think about that. One of the oldest human symbols of power and eternity, now pulsing with digital life, AI imagery, and machine consciousness. Quite literally like the old world and the new world shaking hands or pretty much fusing together. That's what it was symbolizing. People are saying that that this absolutely wasn't random because quantum genesis means the birth of something new from the unseen, and their final act was called the end of Genesis, which pretty much means the end of creation. So this was almost like a message that the era of human origin is over and whatever is next is not organic, that it'll be artificial and completely engineered. There's this eerie feeling that the show was way more than entertainment and pretty much more so a transmission, like a warning about the next stages of evolution, like the setting with the pyramids perfectly aligned with the stars, kind of like a cosmic connection.
This is one of the craziest things I've seen, but hopefully they got their money's worth.
Archaeological evidence confirms the Bible once again. We had Noah's Ark in Turkey, CIA documents found the Ark of the Covenant, AI verified the Shroud of Turin, and now this. In a remote corner of the Dead Sea, something buried for thousands of years is rearing its head, and it's low-key shocking the world. Once dismissed by skeptics as a myth, now standing tall as a pillar of salt are the remnants of the haunting biblical tale of Lot's wife. And the proof that this is the actual pillar from the book of Genesis is slowly becoming undeniable. Now, to the casual, uninformed observer, this column of salt might seem kinda unimpressive, a peculiar geological formation at best. To really understand the significance of what was discovered here, you kinda need to know the story behind it. It starts with a man named Abraham, who's kinda like the OG granddaddy of all major world religions, his descendants forming the family tree of prophets and significant people in the Bible. Well, one day, God tells Abraham that these cities of Sodom and Gomorrah were becoming super evil and corrupt, indulging in idolatry, gluttony, promiscuous immoral behavior, murder, theft, power abuses, pride, and mocking behavior. Basically, modern-day Los Angeles. And yes, if you add a Y to the end of Sodom, that's where that word comes from. So God lets Abraham know that he's going to destroy these cities, raining fire and brimstone on them and burning them to the ground. Abraham thinks it's a great idea, and he's totally on board, except for the fact that his nephew Lot lives there, and turns out he's actually a pretty good guy. Now, God's already 2 steps ahead and lets him know that Lot and his family are actually like the only good people that live there, so he'll keep them safe. He sends down 2 angels that tell Lot to get his family out of the city before God burns it down. And so Lot, his wife, and his daughters flee the city, and God starts raining down literal fire on Sodom and Gomorrah, destroying them and everyone living there. While Lot and his family are leaving, the angels let them know that God also told them to not look back at the burning city. That's their only rule. But Lot's wife is all like, I could take a peek, can't I? Turns around to look at the city and is instantly turned into a pillar of salt, while Lot and his daughters take refuge in a cave. That's the story. Leaving Lot's wife frozen in time, with many assuming this to be merely a symbolic story cautioning against longing for a sinful past. But now it seems like we might have real-world evidence that proves it actually happened. The tale of Sodom and Gomorrah is one of a sudden catastrophe so intense it decimated entire populations overnight, and the biblically accurate locations of these cities are said to have been somewhere close to the Dead Sea. For centuries, religious pilgrims from around the world sought to find the remains of the city, claiming it to be hidden deep beneath the layers of salt found at what is known today as Mount Sodom by the Dead Sea, named after the original city. But more recently, forensic scientists and archaeologists began excavating more around the area, and after digging and testing many mineral layers, they uncovered evidence of extreme heat in the soil layers deep beneath, as well as naturally occurring sulfur balls and burnt sediment layers that could not be explained with natural erosion alone, but rather something that would only happen with a sudden onset of intense heat, and there aren't any volcanoes or anything that could cause that in this region, which points to a sudden source of destructive heat that may have fallen from the sky. There are also many unexpected, strange voids and air pockets beneath the surface of Mount Sodom, where it appears that the ground had rapidly collapsed, leading many to believe this actually is the original location of the ancient city of Sodom.
We're gonna want to get rid of our Ring doorbells like ASAP. They just paired with a company called Flock, which is a police surveillance company basically. They've been rolling out cameras and stuff. Then they can monitor like license plates, and they've been using them in like ICE raids and stuff like that. But in addition to Flock, now, which starts in like November, they're also going to start rolling out the facial recognition stuff, which is starting in December, to a different company called Axon. And that is a police surveillance company, also works with video stuff. But believe it or not, Flock and Axon used to have a partnership up until July of this year when they severed it. I don't know if that's suspicious to you at all, but to me it sounds like they're separating the companies so they don't have any direct interference with each other to spread the profits. And both of them are working with Ring, and who's to say who they're going to end up sharing that data with. So it's all part of the decentralized video surveillance network that they're trying to build. So get rid of those Ring cameras.
I'm not surprised Ring is doing this. Before you know it, all security camera brands will follow suit.
This video crazy as this man think he witnessed the alien this day. Now, I don't know if it's an alien, but all I know is that joint ain't human, fool. The way this shorty was walking was like a robot or some demonic possession type shit. This man beeped the horn, beep beep. Then she turned around all slow and just looked lethargic, fool. And then I don't know what he was saying in the video because he was talking Spanish. So I need somebody to translate what the hell he was saying. Y'all let me know what y'all think this shorty is down below in the comments. You think she a head? You think she a alien like he said? Or something else? Leave it down below in the comments. Watch how she turn around.
Mírala. Dale, pitale. Pitale. Mírate.
What the is that? Somebody explain to me. I ain't never seen no shit like that. Her face look mushed in, sunken, look black. Then she walking all weird, fool. I'm not gonna lie. Just looking at this picture right here, you probably thought this was like CJ from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Either she acted robotic as a defense mechanism from that guy following her, or she's an NPC.
And these drones is our future, man. You see how they using this protest and everything else, like what we going through? Bro, these drones gonna be all over them. And this drones, they're gonna send drones out and it's gonna spur bear mace up. In a minute, man, listen to this, check it out.
We believe that this is going to provide both officer and citizen safety, allow us to respond much more quickly and efficiently to any type of call for service. We can use them for something as simple as to check a water main break that was broken, to something as serious as a homicide or a shooting. Whatever you can imagine a police officer being sent out for, this drone can assist us by giving us that eye in the sky to respond much more quickly, autonomously, and we believe it's the path of the.
There's 911 calls made by the second, so the sky's going to be filled with those things.
If I told you the trees used to push past the clouds, what we call forest now, that's scrub, shrubs, twigs, the real trees. They were all cut down in some ancient deforestation event nobody talks about. They were the original skyscrapers, towering so high you couldn't even see the tops from the ground. You know, they made redwoods look like bonsai trees, and we didn't just lose them. They were erased systematically, like someone wanted them gone. You ever look at Devil's Tower in Wyoming? They tell you it's a volcanic formation, but come on, look at it. That's not a mountain. That's a stump, a petrified tree stump. Perfect vertical striations, flat top, root-like base. It's the same pattern you see when you cut down a tree, just scaled up a few thousand%. And it's not just that one. All over the world, these mesas and buttes follow the same pattern. Flat-topped, perfectly vertical columns, like the earth got logged by something massive. Now, here's where it gets crazier. Satellite images, the ones they quietly stopped talking about, show massive vein-like patterns crisscrossing deserts and plains. Not rivers, not tectonics, veins, root systems of trees so massive their trunks would have been wider than entire cities. And they're still there, fossilized, camouflaged as part of the terrain. Because this wasn't just logging, this was a planetary scale event.
When Kobe died, there was this whole thing that was surfacing about how Kobe at some point made some kind of metaphorical transaction that he would be willing to die young if he could accomplish everything he wants to in his career, kind of thing. And then he dies young. And then the whole connection with LeBron, and there's this whole thing that people were saying was like some kind of ritual where they met in Philly at that game. And then like, I think it was like a few days later, he died in the accident. And you can look at all that kind of stuff and say, maybe it's hearsay. I don't know if there's any people that are athletes who implicitly say, I sold my soul to Satan to get to the NBA, you know?
Right.
But like, when you have artists and musicians and actors saying these things, for anybody watching or listening, it's like, at what point do you need to have evidence before you start believing that there's an enemy out there that's warring for your soul, and that there is this thing called good and evil, and you're in the middle of it. The very people who you look at as sane people, oh, they're Hollywood, they're musicians, you know, they're people to be looked up to. When those very people are saying these things, at what point do you need enough evidence on the table before you start saying, you know what, I need to make a decision here, you know? And I feel like that's why I mentioned about how I feel like we're approaching like this finish line, because it just feels like my enemy is taking the mask off and saying, yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
You know, and try to entice people just with rawness.
I think far beyond the majority of people get into the NBA or the pro leagues based on pure skills and talent, but I think there's a small percentage of people who get there based on pure compromise.
These are the spirit birds of the Witoi tribe. And this tribe guards this sacred waterfall from any evil spirits and undesirables.
This tribe in particular has been around for over 1,000 years. Although the tribes don't wear these outfits 24/7 anymore, they wear them to celebrate and honor their traditions.
Now, these are just one of 600 tribes in Papua New Guinea. The spirit birds are located in the Chimbu province of the highlands of Papua New Guinea.
The culture in this country is among one of the best I've ever seen. Papua New Guinea is one of the last remaining frontiers to tourism.
You look very scary. Allowed to swim? Thank you. And they're giving us permission to swim.
This is the world's first AI-powered robotic vertical farm. It grows crops in 15 days using 95% less water than traditional farming. It's called Auto Store. Imagine a giant Rubik's Cube filled with plants. Dozens of autonomous robots move through this grid system 24/7, repositioning crops to get optimal light exposure and delivering precise amounts of water and nutrients to each plant. No soil, just hydroponics with complete water recycling. Everything is controlled by AI that monitors each plant and adjust conditions in real time. The entire system is fully automated. No farmers, no weather dependency, no pesticides, just robots growing food in a climate-controlled environment that can fit inside a distribution center or even a retail store. Imagine walking into Costco or Walmart and the lettuce you're buying was grown in a vertical farm in the back of the store that morning. Maximum freshness, zero transportation costs, and because it's completely climate independent, you can put these anywhere. Deserts, Arctic regions, urban centers, doesn't matter. They're even designing this for Mars colonization. In 10 years, they want robotic vertical farms growing food on Mars using the same closed loop system. When farms become controlled robots inside warehouses that can operate on other planets, traditional agriculture starts looking like the past.
As long as they're not lab grown and have strange chemicals added to them, then I'm okay with it.
Y'all better be careful out here because I'm seeing something in chips I have never seen before. Y'all check this out. Hold on. Look at this. First of all, look at the bottom. Contains milk, I get it, but animal ingredients? What? What the? Animal ingredients? So are they putting animal in these? What? Are they putting animals in the chips? Bro, are you kidding me? What the? Bro, what is Ruffles doing? Yo, animal ingredients, y'all? What is Ruffles doing? Let's see. This one don't have it, but oh my God, y'all, what is Ruffles doing? They got animal ingredients. And y'all really wondering why your kids be acting like wild animals because they're literally putting animals in the food?
Ruffles is taking the word ingredients to a whole different level. I mean, the least they can do is tell us what animal they're adding. That boat driver was on a mission of creating their own fear factor game, but that's it for the video. Thanks for kicking in with me as always, but before you leave, smash the like button and sub up. Let me know what you think about any of those clips in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.